வணக்கம். மீண்டும் என் பாட்காஸ்டுக்கு வருகை. Once again, I welcome back you to my podcast. Today we are going to discuss Law 26. We are now progressing well into the second half of the book, and this is a very interesting controversial law, which of course is true in politics and in corporates. You will get to hear it. இது ரொம்ப ஒரு கான்ட்ரவர்ஷியலான law, பட் பாலிட்டிக்ஸில் அண்ட் பிஸ்னஸில் இதை ரெகுலராக பார்க்குறது. நீங்கள் சொல்லுங்கள் பாஸ்.
Law 26. Keep your hands clean. You must seem a paragon of civility and efficiency. Your hands are never soiled by mistakes and nasty deeds. Maintain such a spotless appearance by using others as scapegoats and cat's paw to disguise your own involvement. Part 1. Conceal your mistakes. Have a scapegoat around to take the blame. Part 2. Make use of the cat's paw. The law reversal use both with caution. There are screens that hide your own involvement in your dirty work from the public. If any moment the screen is lifted and you are seen as a puppet master, the whole dynamic turns around. 2. There are moments when it's advantageous not to disguise your involvement or responsibility, but rather to take the blame yourself for some mistake. If you have the power and you're secure in it, you can sometimes ask for forgiveness. It is a ploy of kings who make a show of their own sacrifices for the good of the people. Solanganan, I'm sure you have a lot of good examples.
Best example is a man who turned, for all of you, yesterday iPhone turned 15 years. So, concealing a mistakeங்கிறது ஸ்டீவ் ஜாப்ஸோட சூப்பர் குவாலிட்டி. That is, he'll go into a meeting and a lot of people will give ideas, he'll thrash it. And next day, pick up one idea from that and come and show it as if it's his ideas. Next day, he'll come and say it's his own idea. He always had fall guys. And he was the smart guy. The world idolized him. Luckily, he died young. So before he got exposed for what he was, for his frailties, he died a great hero. And of course he had a great feel for product, but he always had a guy like Wasansky nothra vechirna. He designed the Apple thing, but nobody knows what happened to the other guy. Of course people like me know, but the common man does not know about him at all, right? That guy was loyal to Apple right through it all and still is an Apple employee, right? But Jobs went in and out and did all the drama and what he did with Pixar, he had nothing to do with Pixar. Actually, if you read the history of Pixar, he had nothing to do with it. He got a guy, a Jewish guy, to come and straighten it out for him to play his hatchet man. And it's a team of creative people. And those team of creative people created a movie for Disney. And he found a hatchet man who could monetize it. They did an IPO at the right time and they sold it to Disney. And much of Steve Jobs' fortune is not because of Apple, but because of what happened in Pixar, for which he had nothing to do. George Lucas wanted to sell that company. He just picked it up and ran it for so long. And Disney gave the support. This group of people made the movie Toy Story, and Steve Jobs took all the credit. And he bought a hatchet man to close down and shut down whatever he wanted to do. And Steve Jobs is a saint today. This story has been played out in Apple several times. Ami Galileo பேர் நினைக்கிறேன் அவனுக்கு. அவன் தான் திரும்பி அவனை கூப்பிட்டு வந்தான் ஸ்டீவ். He brought him back to the Apple board. He came as a consultant, as an advisor. And then he decided he wanted to run Apple again. So he engineered a fall in stock price. And then got this guy fired. And then told the board, bring me as an interim CEO. And then became the permanent CEO of the company. This is a classic example. நேற்று நான் சொன்ன எக்ஸாம்பிள் Jayalalitha using Sashikala is a classic example. Whatever good that happened in ADMK's time was all because of Jayalalitha. All the bad things that happened, all the casteist thing and all the rowdyism, and all the people she brought who were absolutely incompetent is all because of Sashikala. So good things all to me, all bad things to her. For some time when it was not, public didn't like it, she did a big drama and threw her out of the house. And then she was brought back into the house. So all these kind of games, anybody who watched Poise Garden in Jayalalitha's lifetime would have seen the cat's paw. இந்த கேட்ஸ் பானா உங்களுக்கு தெரியலன்னா என்னென்னா, ஒரு மங்கி இருந்தது. அந்த மங்கி வந்து அதோட பெஸ்ட்டு ஃப்ரெண்ட் ஒரு பூனையோட பாவை எடுத்து நெருப்பில் இருக்கிற கடலையை எடுத்து சாப்பிட்டதுன்னு ஒரு ஃபேபிள் இருக்குது, ஏன்ஷியன்ட் ரோமன் ஃபேபிள். தி மங்கி யூஸிங் தி கேட்ஸ் பா. குரங்கு வந்து பூனையோட பாவை எடுத்து நட்ஸை எடுத்துட்டு, பூனை கால் சுட்டுது, ஆனால் நட்ஸு தின்னது, ஹாப்பியாக வேர்க்கடலை சாப்பிட்டது குரங்குன்னு. தட்ஸ் எக்ஸாக்ட் வாட் சசிகலா டிட் டு ஜெயலலிதா, அண்ட் தட்ஸ் வாட் ஸ்டீவ் ஜாப்ஸ் டிட் டு ஆல் தி கிரியேட்டிவ் பீப்புள். இதை வந்து நீங்கள் எம்பத்தைஸ் பண்ண முடியும். கார்ப்பரேட்ஸில் எல்லாம் நடக்கும். இந்த ஓனர் செயின்ட் மாதிரி இருப்பான், ஓனருக்கு அடியில் ஒரு ஹேச்சட் மேன் இருப்பான். He will do all the dirty things that the owner cannot do. Playing politics, getting rid of people, telling clients no. He will be the good cop, bad cop routine. This is an example. So there is always integration. One cop who will be your friend and the bad cop who is your enemy. Adella set panni routine vandirupanga. Good cop, bad cop. The bad cop will hammer you so much that you will blurt out everything to the good cop. இது வந்து ஒரு கிளாசிக் ploy. So this is what it is. சொல்லுங்க வினோத் சார்.
I like to talk a little bit more on the reversal of this law. In the reversal of the law, we talk about how to sometimes to ask for forgiveness is greater than hiding your involvement in the crime. That it's a ploy the king uses to show his own sacrifices and for the good of the people. And we have seen this kind of parallel in Christian scriptures, where even David, he does commit sin and finally he'll ask God for forgiveness and God forgives David. And it's a strong part of Christianity. And I do feel that the way Donald Trump can get out of the mess he's in, especially after yesterday's revelations of what has been happening in his presidency, in the last days of his presidency, the only way he can come out of this mess is probably by asking the public for forgiveness and telling the people, I did it for you. Tell his fans and his base, the only way he can get out of this and recover from this would be probably reach out to his base and say, all that I did it for you. If you know, all the stuff they're throwing on me is for you. Because I love you guys so much, I did it. And maybe I don't see him doing it because his ego is way too big to do something like this. But I think maybe he would do this. Maybe he would, because there's no way he can hide behind any more curtains. All the curtains have been removed around him.
But the guy who really used it, you are suggesting that Trump used pannum. The guy who used it is Bill Clinton. He got away with all the escapes. Yes. He did all the nasty things that a guy can do.
That to being president.
Being president and in the Oval Room.
And he just asked for forgiveness.
And then he asked for forgiveness. He admitted something. He sacrificed his license to practice as a lawyer. And he asked his wife also had to forgive him. Correct. And the guy had a Teflon coating.
Yes, but the US the Christianity is their bedrock. Most of them, if you see the history of America, the reason why all of them migrated from Europe to America was they were persecuted Christians there. They were not allowed to practice their form of Christianity freely in Europe at that point of time. There was a lot of reformation going on in Europe.
Yes.
So all of these guys are very bedrock Christians.
Yeah.
They believe in very fundamental Christianity. So they moved to US at that point of time. So that's their bedrock. So and one of the bedrock of Christianity is to ask for forgiveness. That no matter what sin you do, God will always forgive you if you repent. So I think that's one of the basic problems here, because in US you can repent and you're forgiven, but there seems to be no consequences of it. Because Bill Clinton got away without any
No, but there are also consequences. Jimmy Carter paid the price. He was by far the sharpest president, but he came out as a clown. And his big reputation is post-presidency. The Iranian hostage crisis was not created by him. It so happened.
True.
And he made several attempts and finally he got out the hostages also. But Ronald Reagan made a joker of him, and the real joker was Ronald Reagan.
Correct.
But Ronald Reagan is now considered an all-time great president, and Jimmy Carter is considered an idiot. But Jimmy Carter is the guy who made Volcker the Federal Reserve chief. And Volcker is the man who crushed the inflation and really put America on a path of 20 years, Federal Reserve chief. Right? But the same Paul Volcker was appointed by Mr. Carter.
Correct.
But Carter got no credit for it. So it also depends on, Carter never said, Carter didn't master this art. You should know how to say sorry. And there is some unsaid element of charisma involved in this. So if you can say this, I'm sorry, you are great.
Correct.
And நான் தப்பு பண்ணிட்டேன் நான் மன்னிச்சுக்கன்னா அவ்வளோதான் அது Carter didn't do it. I'm showing you an example in America where it didn't work. Nixon couldn't. Nixon's reputation went for a toss.
Yes.
Because of Watergate, he couldn't say it. Clinton is one among many one of the few who got away. Nixon didn't get away. This guy didn't get away. Carter didn't get away. Both are in the opposites of the camp. One is a Republican, the other is a Democrat. So it won't work all the time.
And it's also true in Nehru's case. After the failure of the Chinese war, Nehru came and asked for forgiveness, but the Indian people had no appetite for it.
No, Nehru was forgiven. See, Nehru is another case. He used Menon. V.K. Menon was the fall guy. Nehru was the saint. Nehru was forgiven.
Explain that a little bit.
See, first thing, Nehru never lost an election. He won the election Nehru lost was one piddly election in Kerala where the communists came to power. Apart from that, Nehru never lost an election. All the elections were lost by his daughter, not by Nehru. Please understand that. So, Nehru was the darling of his masses till the day he died. And the question is, after Nehru, who?
True.
Even where he botched up in Kashmir, where he arrested Sheikh Abdullah's father, right? And that man was in home prison. He was under home arrest, home jail in Kodaikanal.
Correct.
And finally, when Nehru died, he said, as long as Nehru was there, there is hope of a solution. And when Nehru died, all hope is lost. Right. So Nehru had a way of getting his neighbor, even his opponents, to be with him. Vajpayee, his great opponent, was his great fan. There's a story that when Nehru died in 64, and Vajpayee got to be an external affairs minister in 77. So the external affairs ministry there was always a photograph of Nehru which was lying there, laid out, big portrait. And the Jansang leader becoming an external affairs minister, that portrait was removed. And Vajpayee insisted that portrait come up again.
Correct.
So, and you should see the oration speech of Nehru on Nehru's death by Vajpayee. Nehru had this great ability to make even his worst enemy, political enemies, his best friend.
True.
Nehru is like Clinton.
Very true.
And the entire China episode was blamed on Menon. True. The poor judgment was Nehru's. But the blame went to Menon.
True.
Nehru was a past master in this. One of his very few blunders. China was one of his very few blunders he made in life. But he didn't pay the price.
But do you think நம்ம ஊர்ல leaders they have the appetite for ever asking for forgiveness on it?
Nehru did. Nehru said sorry.
Nehru விட்டுட்டு போவாங்க. Current leaders, current cropla.
Current cropla, I don't think so.
There's no.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all.
They try to twist it into something that's still right.
See, I'll tell you, the whole world has moved right. India has also moved right.
Correct.
So, people like us are paying the price because India has moved rightward. And we have become more like America.
Because now asking for forgiveness seems like a sign of weakness.
Yeah. So, you are considered weak. And what has happened in India is, in my opinion, jobs are not easy to find. See, there is a demographic dividend. There are 143 crore Indians. Okay, of which 43 crores of them are only between 15 and 65. Okay, out of that 43 crores, only 16 crores are looking for a job.
Very true.
Not working, are looking for a job. 24 crores are not looking for a job.
True.
And most of them are illiterate. Even in a case like Tamil Nadu, which is a very more highly educated, as per a survey, that is state of education survey எப்படின்னா ஒரு 7ஆம் கிளாஸ் குழந்தைகிட்ட கொண்டு போனேன்னா she can't read a 3rd standard textbook, which I have seen. Anybody in a government school cannot read 3rd standard textbook. 7ஆம் கிளாஸ் படிச்சிருப்பாங்க, ஆனால் 3rd standard textbook இருக்காது. டெக்ஸ்ட் படிக்க முடியாது. பேசிக் அடிஷன், சப்ட்ராக்ஷன், டிவிஷன் எல்லாமே ப்ராப்ளம். ஸோ unless you really educate your people.
Yes, crux of it is education.
We have semi-literate people, and so who have now reinforced belief that in past somewhere India was a great country, which is not true, right?
Yes.
And so you have gone into
That book,
some
Factfulness is very good on that.
yeah.
Where it keeps on saying we have this bias. where
We
we
will
think
discuss
the good
factfulness.
old days. Good old days.
Yes. So we will discuss factfulness next.
Yeah.
So hopefully after this book, you have read it, I have listened to it.
Yeah.
So in the factfulnessல வந்து சொல்கிற மாதிரி தான், he talks about Sweden and we still have open drains. My அப்பா சொல்லுவானே, as a country we still have open drains. So you want to see, people are seeing glitzy things in TV.
Correct.
And they want to be a part of it. Anyway.
The basic problem is human response always is when something goes wrong is to look outward and blame someone else for something. It's never to look inward. This law is nothing but harvesting that emotion, basic thing of human nature of ஏதாவது தப்பு நடந்ததுன்னா blame somebody else for it.
அதே தான். You can blame the Muslim in India. You can blame the Christian in
What do you call in America, they're dividing, blaming the Republicans and blaming the Democrats.
Yes.
The Republicans blame the Democrats for all their problems. The Democrats blame all the Republicans for it. In Europe, the same problem. The British people thought the Europe continent, main continent is a problem. The migrant laborers coming there is a problem. They wanted to get out of Europe. Now leaving Europe, they have a big problem of filling these jobs. And the basic British man doesn't want to do these jobs.
No,
these
they don't
pay
want to
levels.
do these jobs.
And they don't want it at that pay level.
They're not at the pay level at which these guys can afford.
Correct. This is true throughout the world. And this law is an exploitation of that problem.
This
But
law
it's
just-
human nature to blame somebody else for your problems.
Yes. எப்போதும் நான் தப்பு பண்ண இன்னொருத்தன் தப்பு பண்ணோம். I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. We really loved making this one. Thank you.
Thanks.